Ireland have never won 3 Triple Crowns in a row, but they're well on their way in 2024. Having already beaten each of England, Wales, and Scotland in 2022 and 2023, Ireland has already earned comfortable wins over France and Italy this year. The reigning Six Nations champion is now looking to clinch back the crown and Grand Slam in the current edition of the Six Nations. Join us in this video as we give a rundown of how the Irish team dominates the 2024 Six Nations. Ireland had a flying start. The Ireland team's Six Nations campaign for 2024 got off to a flying start in Marseille with a resounding 38-17 victory over the French rugby team on February 2nd. Andre Farrell's side was dominant from the outset as they defended their Six Nations crown in front of a packed-out orange velodrome. With their performance, they laid down an ominous marker for the rest of the competition. Le Bleu, regarded as having one of the most devastating attacks in world rugby.
Hard and drive forward. France are coming! France are coming! Peno!
Barely had a chance to fire a shot in what was an uncharacteristically lifeless display. He was the reigning Grand Slam champion who started by far the brightest. France paid the price for their indiscipline, losing Paul Willemse to a red card for 2 yellows in the first half. But Ireland's dominance was not simply by virtue of having an extra man. They were able to employ the game that had brought them success in the past and capitalize on France's defensive weaknesses. It was a fitting end to an impressive performance by Ireland, who convincingly won the game by scoring the final try of the match. This game pitted the two sides who felt perhaps the greatest disappointment at the World Cup, both beaten in heartbreaking quarterfinals. Ireland, without now retired captain Johnny Sexton, looked to have digested that disappointment the better, with Le Bleu struggling for answers in the absence of their own captain Antoine Dupont, who was on Sevens duty as he bids for an Olympic medal this summer. France had a chance to score first, with Matthew Jalibert weaving his way through a few tackles to create an opening for his team. However, Gaël Ficcal gave his pass to Pinot a fraction early, and Hugo Keenan made the important tackle.
3-4 Irish defenders, and that creates the mismatch in the wide channel, and that is a fantastic tackle.
Ireland took advantage of this opportunity and scored first, with Jack Crowley, the man tasked with replacing Sexton, taking a penalty after France was penalized for an infringement during the first Irish attack. Willemse, one of France's players, was then shown a yellow card for a dangerous clear-out on Andrew Porter, putting France at a disadvantage.
I think you keep your eye on Porter here. We're looking if that's a headshot from Willemse, which it is.
In his absence, Ireland struck, with Bundy Akeem maintaining the form he showed at the end of last year as he slipped through 2 tackles before putting Gibson Park away. Crowley converted to make it 10-0, and they almost scored again after a scrum on the 22-meter line, but were held up over the line as France struggled to keep up. A missed penalty from Crowley gave France some respite, and they used their dominant scrum to get on the board with a long-range Thomas Ramos penalty, making the visitors 10-3 up after 26 minutes. Ireland's response was immediate, again going through the phases, and a lovely delayed ball from Crowley allowed Byrne to slip past Jonathan Danty and under the posts. France were in trouble at 17-3, and that was compounded when Willemse was given a second yellow card for tackling Caelan Doris in the air, which was later upgraded to a red card. At the end, Ramos converted to make it a 7-point game, and France brought on their 19-year-old debutant, Posolo Tuilagi, to try and keep their comeback hopes alive. Tuilagi had an impressive impact, but it was Ireland who finished stronger. Their extra man was understandably telling in the closing stages. Sheehan scored another try from a rolling maul in the 60th minute, securing the bonus point, and Kelleher sealed the win with a try of his own, sending Ireland's fans into a frenzy. Pursuit of back-to-back victories continue. Ireland continued their pursuit of a back-to-back Six Nations Grand Slam as they swept aside Italy in Dublin on February 11th. Dan Sheehan registered 2 of Ireland's 5 further tries to take his tournament tally to 3, while Jack Conan, man of the match James Lowe, and Calvin Nash were also on the score sheet for a team captained by Caelan Doris. Although there were moments where they could have been more ruthless, their performance was more than enough to defeat Italy and secure their 17th consecutive home win. Italy's challenge was always going to be a tough one, but the Irish team gave it their all and can take some pride in the fact that they kept the game close for a while. Italy arrived at a sold-out Aviva Stadium as overwhelming underdogs and seeking their first championship success on Irish soil on the back of a positive performance in a 3-point defeat to England. Paolo Garbisi missed a penalty early on, which could have put them in the lead, but Ireland's scrum half Craig Casey released provincial teammate Crowley to gleefully register a landmark 5 points.
In goes Casey, they've got enough, they've got more than enough. Crowley in,
The 7th-minute score initially did little to settle the hosts amid a subdued Sunday afternoon atmosphere. Despite the personnel changes from the previous match, the team looked disjointed at times, and the game became scrappy. However, Hugo Keenan's energy and determination momentarily lifted the crowd and led to a second score in the 24th minute, with Crowley, Stewart, McCloskey, and Robbie Henshaw ultimately combining to tee up Sheehan.
Advantage called over because this is where Ireland are, right in range. Sheehan.
Blasts of Zombie by the Cranberries, the team's World Cup anthem, greeted each Ireland try and rang out again 3 minutes before the break when Conan bulldozed across the line after Joe McCarthy was held up. Ireland had the bonus point in the bag within 5 minutes of the restart as hooker Sheehan, who also crossed against LeBleu, claimed his second try of the afternoon.
It will be their bonus point score.
Robbie Henshaw's try was denied due to a somewhat questionable call of a double movement by the referee, but Ireland was undeterred. Despite the injury to fullback Hugo Keenan, the Irish team continued to push forward, and it wasn't long before impressive winger James Lowe scored a powerful try.
The younger of the two. McCluskey out wide, here's Lowe, he'll fancy this against Kapowatsu and friends. Lowe keeping going, look at the power in those legs!
The try was set up by a beautiful run from Keenan, who seemed unstoppable until he was tripped up by Tommaso Menincello, who was sent to the sin bin for the illegal tackle. Garbisi's missed penalty seemed to signal the end of Italy's chances of coming back, and they struggled to make any headway against Ireland's defensive line. Another fruitless trip to the Irish capital was compounded 2 minutes from time when Munster wing Nash collected Jamison Gibson-Park's pass to score for the second week in a row, with replacement 10 Harry Burns slotting the extras to add to 2 Crowley conversions. Ireland to continue their dominance. For coach Andy Farrell, things are just beginning to get interesting. Speaking after the historic win over Italy, the first time a team had been held to 0 in the tournament since England, also against Ireland back in 1987, Farrell spoke with humility despite the one-sided nature of the match. "We got a bit clunky in parts, but they're tricky enough to play against. They have changed the way that they play. They're a little more pragmatic, so you have to find different ways of getting the ball back," he told ITV Sport. But that didn't stop him from acknowledging their victory. "We're happy enough, and we got what we wanted in the game with a bonus point win. Keeping them to 0 is very pleasing, and there were some nice tries out there and some nice performances by individuals." Asked about Ireland's Six Nations title hopes, Farrell was careful not to fan the flames too much with Triple Crown games against Wales, England, and Scotland still to come. He said, "We want to win every game, so we're not shying away from that, but the tournament only gets harder from here on in. It's just started, hasn't it?" No team has ever won consecutive Six Nations Grand Slams, but Ireland are chasing history as they sit in an imperious position atop the table after 2 games. Equally, Ireland would have to create another piece of history if they were to take the Triple Crown for a 3rd consecutive year. No team has won 3 consecutive Triple Crowns since Wales's 4 straight in 1976 to 1979, while Ireland themselves have never done so. The Irish have 2 wins, 2 bonus points, and a huge points differential advantage over the rest of the field. Ireland have Wales next up on February 24th, followed by a trip to Twickenham and a visit to Scotland to round out the tournament, both in March. What's your take on this? Do you think a 2nd Grand Slam and a 3rd Triple Crown for Ireland are likely? Let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching this video, and check out the next video on your screen.